Hello, my name is Jim,
I'm David.
and this is our assignment 2 code. On the right, you'll see that we're going to have our server. On the left, we have two clients which we will run simultaneously. As you can see, the server connected to localhost is starting at port 9000 and it can have up to 8 connections at the same time. Our information is coming from data.txt and it will be saved in h.txt. Here we shall have the first client connect to the port 9000. This one will connect to port 9001. If we choose the same port for both, then the one who enters second will need to wait for the first client to exit as it says in the program specifications. Here we see that it is asking for a login. This is the logon command where you need to enter a username. Now, Jim was logged in and it says the login was successful. Now, David has logged in. His login is successful. And we see on the server both clients have logged in. Let's run a query. Actually, let's see what's in the file first. Now let's query. We get a return the amount of seats. We see it's correct. Let's reserve. We have reserved 4 seats. It has been successful. We see that we've asked to reserve 4. The old amount was 10. The new amount is 6. Let's check on the second server. On the second client, pardon. We have the 6 seats remaining. Now, let's try to reserve more seats than we have. Here, we get a message saying that there's not enough seats. This is to avoid overbooking. We still have the 6 seats, so the booking was not made. Let's say this client wants to return one of its seats from the flight. If you see, we forgot to specify which flight. Therefore, no flight has changed. Let's try this again. Here, we see that we have returned 1 seat. We are getting our money back. And now, let's test list available. Since all the flights have seats available, we now see how many seats we have, including the added seat from client 1. So, let's reserve the 7 seats we originally wanted. We have reserved the seats. Now let's run list available again. As you notice, Miami Orlando is no longer available, therefore it doesn't no longer shows up. But if we type a list, it's still there. Now let's only list half of the flights by listing the first two. We see them there. Let's list the first 2 flights available. If you notice, the difference would be this lists flights that are not available. This lists only flights that are available. These are all the flights. Now that we've done a few queries, let's have us enter the chat. We see here that we have entered the chat. It tells us that the chat has been started. Let's type a message. Here we have just echoed that we are in the chat and that we received a message. Let's leave the chat. Actually, before we leave, let's test a query. The query should not work because we are in chat mode. As you see, we have sent a message to Miami Orlando and we received the same message. Therefore, the command did not work. Let's leave chat. We've left the chat. Let's test it. Invalid command. We are now in chat. We have seen 0. We never return any flights. The query works. We see the display on both ends. And let's exit. This client has closed, allowing us to know that a new client in the same port can now connect. And this is our code. Thank you very much.